Hello everyone, and welcome to my UK Royal Family News channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Keen to stay at Economical preferred house in London, rather than Buckingham Palace. To lessen the burden the royal family places on taxpayers, the king is rumored to open up royal apartments to the public. According to a royal author, King Charles IV would much rather stay at the London property he established as his residence in 2002 rather than move to Buckingham Palace. The famous palace will continue to serve as the king's official residence for receiving visitors and conducting royal business, with Clarence House serving as his primary address. The annual sovereign grant that the government gives to the royal family is funding the anticipated £369 million repair project that will take place at Buckingham Palace over the course of 10 years. After the renovations are finished, Ingrid Seward proposed that the King and Queen might prefer to dwell at the Clarence House, which is more economical, and only use the larger palace on rare occasions. They would much rather stay at Clarence House, according to Seward. The royals didn't enjoy living at BP. It's big and faceless. Charles will definitely do this, as it relieves the burden on the taxpayer by generating much-needed cash. It is not a residence. It is a place of business. Even though it is the head of state's official residence, they are not required to live there and may just use it for official purposes. Living in Clarence House is significantly more cost-effective because they avoid having to spend millions on furnishing private apartments that will go unused. Just need to keep heating to a minimum, which Charles is very keen on. Seward also suggested that His Majesty would not want to spend excessive amounts of money on a home he would not be using for many years because he is fully aware that his reign will likely be much shorter than that of his mother. "We also don't know how long his reign will last," she told Newsweek. "He will not want to spend a lot of money remodeling something he might not use for a long time because he will be 75 this year." Charles wouldn't be the first royal family member to be reluctant to move from Clarence House to Buckingham Palace. When she succeeded her father in 1952, the late Queen and Prince Philip asked Prime Minister Winston Churchill for permission to stay at the modest home where they had made their home after returning from Malta. They were turned down, and Clarence House became the official house of the Queen Mother Elizabeth, who stayed there until her death in 2002, and Princess Margaret, who left after getting married in 1960. Richard Fitzwilliam, a royal observer, asserted that the king also understood the symbolic value of Buckingham Palace and predicted that he could eventually feel pressure to move his primary house. King William IV, who succeeded in 1830, was the last sovereign to not move into the palace in the heart of London. And since then, the house has continually served as the official residence of the kings and queens of the United Kingdom. https://www.newsweek.com/king-charles-million-buckingham-palace-problem-1810122. Reports have suggested that the king and queen would be hesitant to leave Clarence House, although it does appear plausible after the renovations are finished. Although that was about 200 years ago, William IV didn't. Clarence House's future plans are unknown, but leveraging royal properties to generate cash to complement the sovereign grant will be crucial for the monarchy going forward. Reports have suggested that the king and queen would be hesitant to leave Clarence House, although it does appear plausible after the renovations are finished. Although that was about 200 years ago, William IV didn't. Clarence House's future plans are unknown, but leveraging royal properties to generate cash to complement the sovereign grant will be crucial for the monarchy going forward. He said that the king might decide to keep Buckingham Palace open to visitors for more than a few weeks throughout the summer. "I think it highly likely that, after works are finished, Buckingham Palace will be open to the public for longer periods of time," the expert continued. "It would make sense. Charles will definitely do this, as it relieves the burden on the taxpayer by generating much-needed cash. Cake and bingo are used to celebrate the NHS's 75th anniversary by King Charles and Queen Camilla. This week, the King and Queen are in Scotland to commemorate Charles' Scottish coronation, which also happens to be an important NHS milestone. A day before the King's Scottish coronation ceremony, King Charles and Queen Camilla hosted a bingo party at the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh to honor the NHS's 75th anniversary. The NHS was established in 1948, and on Wednesday, July 5, it will have officially been 75 years since that time. The royal family and patients celebrated with birthday cake and a bingo game. When the King and Queen arrived to the infirmary, Camilla was wearing a summery floral gown for the occasion. They greeted and shook hands with elderly patients. The royals later cut a sizable cake for the NHS while posing in front of two enormous blue balloons with the numbers 7 and 5 to commemorate the National Health Service's momentous anniversary. Earlier that day, Charles and Camilla experienced a moving moment as they observed the Jubilee Gates at the Palace of Holyrood House, which were put in place to honor his late mother Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee. The Queen Consort brought an umbrella with her because it was raining, but the couple appeared content as they spent Royal Week in Scotland. Every year, towards the end of June or the beginning of July, the monarch travels to Scotland for Royal Week, also known as Holyrood Week, to honor Scottish culture. King Charles began the week by meeting with non-profit organizations and local leaders in Falkirk and Edinburgh, where he also met with 11-year-old bonus fair Queen Lexi Scotland. The customary ceremony of the keys on the forecourt of Holyrood Palace marked the start of the week. The Lord Provost welcomed him to Edinburgh and gave him the keys to the city. Charles enjoyed himself on the Royal Yacht Britannia yesterday evening, and the King and Queen will throw a garden party today, with thousands of Scots in attendance in the palace grounds. The King will be honored with the Honours of Scotland during a service of Thanksgiving on Wednesday, July 5, to commemorate his Scottish coronation. The Crown of Scotland, a sceptre, and the newly forged sword made in honour of Queen Elizabeth I make up the Honours of Scotland, the Scottish equivalent of the crown jewels. The Honours will be picked up from Edinburgh Castle that day and carried in a procession with about 100 participants, each representing a different facet of Scottish life, to Street Giles Cathedral. The Prince of Wales, who are known as the Duke and Duchess of Rothesay in Scotland, the Queen Consort, and King Charles will all participate in a royal parade. Why is Scotland hosting a second coronation for King Charles? Details of the service. The coronation of King Charles, which took place on May 6 at Westminster Abbey, was a magnificent display of British pomp and splendor. The King and Queen were crowned in the Abbey in front of more than 2,000 spectators and millions of those watching on television during the historic ceremony. They took part in 2 processions to and from Buckingham Palace and exited the balcony to pose for a memorable photograph while watching a scaled-down rat fly past. But in keeping with historical custom, the pair will experience it all over again on Wednesday, July 5, in Scotland. The second coronation will definitely be the centerpiece of Royal Week in Edinburgh. But it is just one of the events that make up the week. Express.co.uk examines the King's decision to hold a second coronation, along with the timings and what to anticipate on the big day. What is the purpose of King Charles' second coronation? Following the union of the crowns in 1603, King Charles has a second coronation in Scotland to commemorate the fact that he is now also the King of Great Britain. Following King Charles' coronation at Westminster Abbey in 1625, there was the first repeat coronation. The Scottish Parliament asked that the monarch be crowned in Canada as well. The second coronation, however, was held in Holyrood in 1633 because the king took his time. After King George IV's coronation in 1822, the custom was put on hold until Queen Elizabeth I reinstated it in 1953. King Charles is participating in a second coronation in Scotland, following in the footsteps of his mother. What major events occurred? Republican Humza Yousaf, the First Minister of Scotland, officially confirmed some of the major events. According to him, Scotland will host a number of coronation-related festivities in July to welcome the new King and Queen. A national service of thanksgiving, a gun salute, a people's procession, and a royal procession will take place in Edinburgh. There will be roughly 100 participants in the people's procession, which will move from Edinburgh Castle to St Giles Cathedral and showcase all facets of Scottish culture. Dogs Trust, the Boys Brigade, the NHS, and the Samaritans are some of the organizations engaged. They will be accompanied by cadet musicians from the 51 Brigade Cadet Military Band of the Combined Cadet Force, the Royal Regiment of Scotland, and their mascot Corporal Cruachan Ivy, a Shetland pony. From the Palace of Holyrood House, the recognized Royal Palace in Scotland, to St Giles Cathedral, King Charles will participate in a royal procession. They will be accompanied by the Royal Regiment of Scotland and followed by the Prince and Princess of Wales, also known as the Duke and Duchess of Rothesay in Scotland. At the cathedral's national service of thanksgiving, which starts at 2:15 p.m., the new king will be given the honours of Scotland, including a second crown. The honours of Scotland, the earliest crown jewels in Britain, include a crown, sceptre, and sword made of gold, silver, and priceless gems. They also feature some of the most significant items of Scottish royal regalia. They were created between the 15th and 16th centuries. They will be escorted to the royal procession by the military and police from Edinburgh Castle, where they are typically kept. King James V donned the Scottish crown for the first time in 1543, when Queen Mary of Guise, at 9 months old, was crowned. The last time it was used was when Queen Elizabeth was laid to rest. During a service at St Giles Cathedral prior to her funeral last September, it was put on her coffin. During the service, the ancient crown jewels will be given to King Charles. The service will also include the Stone of Scone, popularly known as the Stone of Destiny. Since centuries, Scottish monarchs have utilized the historical artifact as a seat during their coronations, and King Charles used it in May. The king will be presented with the new Sword of State, the Elizabeth, in one of the ceremony's most important moments. It was commissioned to take the place of the first Sword of State, commonly known as the Papal Sword, which was supposedly given to King James IV by Pope Alexander VI in 1494. The original sword is in such delicate condition that it can no longer be utilized. What time of day is the second coronation, and when is it? On Wednesday, July 5, King Charles will celebrate his second coronation. Scotland will celebrate the coronation for the first time since the king took the throne on September 8, 2022, following the passing of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. Timings for the entire day. People's procession leaves Edinburgh Castle Esplanade at 1:15 p.m. On 30 p.m. West Parliament Square welcomes the People's Procession. The honours of Scotland, crown jewels, depart from the Castle Esplanade at 1:40 p.m. under military and police protection. They arrive at West Parliament Square at 1:50 p.m. 2:05 p.m. The royal procession departs the Holyrood Palace. Royal procession arrives at St Giles Cathedral at 2:10 p.m. 3:15 p.m. The National Thanksgiving and Dedication Service concludes 3:20 p.m. The King and Queen leave St Giles. Edinburgh Castle fires a royal gun salute. Royal party arrives at the Palace of Holyrood House at 3:27 p.m. 3:40 p.m. RAF flee over. There will be more activities after that, with multiple engagements planned on July 6th. This includes trips to Selkirk, the Loch Carron of Scotland weaving mill, and the Great Tapestry of Scotland. Which royals will be present? Other senior royals, such as the Prince and Princess of Wales, will join the King and Queen. Since the service is on a weekday and they will still be in school, it seems unlikely that their kids will attend. Vice Admiral Sir Timothy Lawrence, the husband of Princess Anne, is anticipated to attend as well. How to see from 1:30 until 3:45 p.m. A Scottish Thanksgiving service for King Charles will be live streamed on BBC One. Thanks for watching if you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.